Previously, as Jin-Wo defeated the last gate monster, a notification appears. You have defeated the enemy. Jin-Wo stands in front of the lifeless body, thinking about the message. Jin-Ho runs toward him, praising his strength and congratulating him for defeating the boss. However, Jin-Wo quickly realizes something is wrong. There was no message indicating that the dungeon boss had been defeated. He concludes that the raid isn't over. Looking at the giant's body, he notices there's no black smoke, which means he can't extract its shadow. Suddenly, Jin-Wo senses something ominous. He immediately signals to Jin-Ho to get back. Looking at the fallen giant, Jin-Wo sees Beru emerging from its mouth. He reflects on the giant's immense magic power, which still rivals Beru's presence even after its death. As he contemplates his next move, the gate suddenly begins to emit an intense light. Jin-Wo senses it's a powerful magic storm and quickly turns to check on Jin-Ho. He sees Ygritte shielding Jin-Ho from the storm. Then Jin-Wo notices something strange. The gate is absorbing the giant's magic power. He touches his face and sees a cut. He thinks, I got cut just from the magic power. This has never happened before. He tells Jin-Ho to wait and prepares to enter the dungeon to investigate. Jin-Wo leaps through the gate and finds himself in a massive corridor. He thinks, it makes sense. Giants would need this much space to move. As he proceeds forward, Beru appears beside him and asks if he heard something. Jin-Wo replies yes, calling it an evil laugh. Suddenly, a voice speaks out, saying, It amuses me greatly. You contemptible rulers, see for yourself who has come forth to meet me. In the center of a large chamber, Jin-Wo sees a massive giant chained up. The creature looks at him and pleads to be released, saying, I know the plans of the rulers. I must inform the other monarchs. But then it pauses, realizing something, and says, You are not the one I know. Jin-Wo asks if it was the rulers who did this to him. The giant responds, Yes, they're trying to use me as a stepping stone to lay the groundwork for a full-scale war. Jin-Wo thinks to himself, I've tried speaking with intelligent, magical beasts before, but none could tell me where they came from. He then asks the giant, What do you know about the rulers? The giant responds, They are the ancient enemies of the monarchs. Upon hearing this, Jin-Wo thinks, Enemies of the monarchs. Does that mean they're my enemies too? He then asks, If they bound you in chains like this, does that mean? The giant nods and replies, Yes, I am also a monarch. The monarch warns Jin-Wo that both the rulers and the monarchs are after him, and that he currently lacks the power to face either side. To survive, he'll need influence. Jin-Wo demands an explanation, and the monarch asks to be freed, promising to help him in the coming battles. Jin-Wo, suspicious, says, Do you really think I'd trust the word of a monster? The monarch replies, I will make you believe, and begins chanting in a demonic tongue. A notification appears. The king of giants and monarch of the beginning, Li has used the skill, Oath of Truth. Jin-Wo accepts, and another notification follows. Both parties may not lie to each other unless the contract is annulled by mutual agreement. Li again asks to be freed, promising his help against Jin-Wo's enemies. Jin-Wo tries to say, All right, I trust you completely, but the skill prevents him from lying. Li says, This is the power of the Oath of Truth. You cannot lie now. Jin-Wo asks how Li can speak so clearly, unlike the other monsters. Li asks who he means, and Jin-Wo explains, The monsters coming from the gates. Li realizes he's referring to the residents of chaos. He explains that those creatures are stragglers who were captured and imprisoned by the rulers for so long that their minds eroded. They lost their intelligence. But Li claims he is different. I am a king. Unlike them, I retain my sanity. I endured countless years waiting to be freed. And then I met you. Jin-Wo then asks if the silver-armored winged beings are part of the ruler's army. Li confirms they are. Jin-Wo presses further, asking why the rulers are sending monsters to attack humanity. Li answers, I told you they're preparing for war. They want to turn your world into a battlefield to fight the monarchs. Jin-Wo asks, how does sending monsters achieve that? Li explains, they are injecting magic power into your world, little by little, to transform it into a suitable battlefield. With that, everything finally clicks into place for Jin-Wo. If the monsters that emerged from the gates were disasters, then the magic energy they brought was a blessing. Most civilians and hunters believed that magic stones and gems were the greatest sources of energy, but these were only laying the groundwork for war. Legia explains that using the blood of those who possess magic power is the most effective way to plant magic into a world that lacks it. The rulers used the captives they had taken, and now the magic energy is concentrating on Earth. This magic will strengthen the planet, making it capable of withstanding the immense shock of a coming war. Jin-Wo asks what war Legia is referring to, and Legia answers. It's the rematch between the rulers and the monarchs. The world Jin-Wo lives in will become hell, and much sooner than he expects. He warns that there isn't much time left. Once either side realizes that contact has been made, neither the rulers nor the monarchs will remain silent. In fact, the rulers may already be on the move. Jin-Wo asks, "Why do you keep making it sound like they're after me?" Legia responds, "You really don't know. The power you possess isn't truly your own. The fact that Jin-Wo has inherited that power means its original owner has betrayed the rulers, marking Jin-Wo as an enemy to both monarchs and rulers alike. But Legia swears he will fight alongside Jin-Wo. Jin-Wo replies, "If you really want to help, it would be easier if you just became a shadow soldier." At that moment, Legia glimpses something behind Jin-Wo, the figure of the Shadow Monarch. For a second, he sees the presence of a true monarch and realizes something. He tells Jin-Wo that rulers and monarchs are bound to spiritual forms. When they die, they can't become shadows. Legia then asks, "Was that enough to convince you to help me?" Jin-Wo draws his weapon, slowly approaching. He understands the situation, but something feels off. He senses he's missing a crucial detail. As he begins to free Legia, Jin-Wo asks, "You said you'll stay by my side, right?" Legia replies, "Of course. If you help me, I will help you. This is a fair and absolute deal between monarchs." But Jin-Wo, still wary, asks, "Are you on the human side?" Legia remains silent. Jin-Wo repeats the question, "Why aren't you answering? Is it because of the oath of truth?" Then Jin-Wo notices something. There's a magical crystal embedded at the back of Legia's neck. He realizes, as long as that stone exists, you must be hearing the ruler's commands, just like every other monster, telling you to kill humans. Legia lunges, but Jin-Wo dodges, saying, "The deal's off." He stabs Legia through the chest. "You're too dangerous to let live. You could become a calamity." Legia, wounded, looks at Jin-Wo and says, "You're wrong. The true calamity is you." He tries to attack again, but Jin-Wo is faster. He strikes back, though even that isn't enough to kill the monarch of the beginning. Using his last bit of strength, Legia warns Jin-Wo, "As the battles between the people of Earth and the residents of Chaos grow more frequent, the world will become a more intense war zone. I pray that everything you hold dear turns to ash, burned by the karma of war." Jin-Wo finishes him with the final blow. It won't go as you hope. A system notification appears. "You have defeated Legia, one of the 9 original monarchs." It adds that a great amount of experience has been earned, and it may take time to process. Jin-Wo picks up a piece of metal from the ground and mutters, "Too bad I didn't get a shadow soldier. But I'll take this as a souvenir." As he exits the dungeon, another notification pops up. "You have reached level 122. The scene shifts to America, where a helicopter lands. Director David Brennan and Ms. Sellner step out and are greeted by one of the national-level hunters, Christopher Reed. Christopher, surprised, says, "I wasn't expecting visitors today." Director Brennan replies, "I have something important to discuss with you." Brennan requests privacy, and Christopher instructs his secretary not to let anyone near his room until his guests leave. After they sit down, Christopher asks, "What brings you here?" He also mentions that he won't be joining the S-rank gate raid that has appeared in the East. Ms. Sellner calmly tells him, "That's not why I'm here. There's a more serious problem." She warns him, "You may be murdered in the future." Taken aback and angry, Christopher responds, "I haven't forgotten what you've done for me, but we're not close enough to joke like this." "Just who the hell are you talking about?" Ms. Sellner replies, "I had a dream about you." She tells him, "In my dream, you were surrounded by men." Christopher, skeptical, tries to cut her off. You came all this way just to spout this nonsense. Over a dream, he adds. I know what you used to do before you awakened. Rumors say your powers are rooted in the fact that you were once a psychic. With a serious expression, he says, I'm a national-level hunter. No one can kill me. But then, calming slightly, he asks, let's say I believe you. Who am I supposed to turn to for help? Miss Selner replies, there might be someone who can help you. His name is Sung Jin-Wo. He might be the only person who can protect you. The scene then shifts to Japan, where Jin-Wo emerges from the S-rank dungeon, thinking to himself, I had to kill the king. That was the right choice. He reflects on the immense pressure the enemy exerted, saying, he emitted a suffocating amount of mana, even with his powers sealed by those strange chains. It's a good thing I uncovered his true intentions before he had the chance to act. Fast forward, news quickly spreads across the globe that all of the giants in Japan have been eliminated. Talk ignites on social media about a possible new national-level hunter. And unlike the Jeju Island raid, this time the whole world, not just Korea, is talking about it. The last surviving giant that had crossed the ocean was taken down by China's national-level hunter, Liu Jigang. Meanwhile, in Japan, the head of the Japanese Hunter Association, Matsumoto Shigeo, turns himself in and confesses to his crimes. While his true motivations remain unclear, some believe he was trying to take responsibility for his previous actions, involving the Jeju Island raid and betrayal of Korean hunters. Elsewhere in the United States, American hunters, who had just cleared an S-rank gate, are preparing to attend a lavish, government-sponsored celebration. Members of the Scavenger Guild are seen chatting, praising how the government spared no expense for this party. Thomas Andre, America's strongest hunter and a national-level hunter, approaches the group. He grins and reminds them, you haven't forgotten about our bet, right? He jokingly confronts a third member asking, and what did you bet? The man replies nervously, I didn't bet anything. Thomas leans in and teases, that's a nice tie you've got on. Then he turns to his assistant, Laura, and asks her how he looks. Laura replies dryly, that tie looks expensive, but it doesn't go well with your Hawaiian shirt. Amused, he takes off the tie, agreeing, that's what I was thinking too. Laura updates him with a report regarding the list of guilds participating in the upcoming International Guild Conference. She informs him that Korea's Asian Guild is also attending. Thomas raises an eyebrow with interest. That's the new guild created by Hunter Sung Jin-Wo, Laura says, which immediately catches his attention. He asks, then he'll be coming to the U.S. Back in Japan, Jin-Wo, after clearing all the dungeon breaks in the city, stood in front of the giants he had managed to convert into shadow soldiers. He commented, it's a shame we let one get away across the ocean, but with this, our forces have grown. Everyone standing behind him was amazed by his power. Seeing their reaction, Jin-Ho smirked, thinking it was no surprise they were shocked witnessing his abilities for the first time. He then noticed Hunter Hoshino approaching, telling him that someone was on the phone asking for him. After answering, Jin-Wo was surprised to hear what the caller said. It was Yu Jin-Ho, telling him he had to return to Korea. Jin-Wo asked, is everything okay? Jin-Ho replied, I'm not sure, but I've been told to come back. Some family matters have come up. As Jin-Ho left, he thought, I've never heard my mother's voice so shaky before, and wondered what could be wrong. Upon arriving at the airport in Korea, he was greeted by his father's assistant, who told him a car had been prepared. The assistant then said, you must brace yourself in times like these. I'll explain everything on the way. When they arrived at the hospital, Jin-Ho saw his father lying unconscious, fallen into an eternal sleep. Jin-Ho tried to enter the room, but the assistant stopped him, saying, you can't go near him. The presence of a hunter who can't control his magic power could worsen his condition. He handed Jin-Ho a notebook, saying, this is what your father was working on before he collapsed. I've been holding on to it in case he woke up looking for it, but it seems like you need it more now. As Jin-Ho looked inside the notebook, tears began to form in his eyes. It was filled with newspaper articles about him and Jin-Wo. Seeing this, Jin-Ho remarked, they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. He still has the same habit of scrapbooking every article he likes. The assistant added, Your and your siblings' competitions, exhibitions, and concerts, he kept them all. Even your recent ventures. It's not that the president didn't love you, it's just that his expectations were as big as his love for you. After that, the assistant said, "Let's take you to the residence." As they began to leave, Jin-Ho sensed something and turned back. But there was no one there. The assistant asked if everything was all right, and Jin-Ho replied, "It's nothing," before walking away. After they left, Jin-Woo, who had been using his stealth ability to remain invisible, appeared standing in front of Jin-Ho's father. "He's making me all emotional," Jin-Woo said quietly, and opened a bottle of healing potion. Meanwhile, outside the hospital, Yoo Jin-hee, Jin-Ho's sister, had just arrived to see her father. As she was walking, she noticed Jin-Woo pass by her. Ignoring that, she continued on her way to see her father. To her shock, when she entered the room, her father was awake and looking at her. Overcome with emotion, she began to cry. After some time, doctors arrived and explained that her father had miraculously awakened from what they had called an eternal sleep. They said this had never been documented before. "I can't even imagine what the media will say about this," one of them commented. Outside the hospital, we see Jin-Woo saying, "It's a little early, but happy birthday, Jin-Ho." After walking for a while, he decided to head back to Japan. However, when he checked the shadow exchange skill, he noticed there was still 1 hour and 54 minutes left on the cooldown. Thinking about what to do for the next 2 hours, the thought of Hunter Cha Hae-in crossed his mind. He quickly brushed that thought aside and considered finding a dungeon to raid instead. Meanwhile, in the United States, Christopher Reed, one of the national-level hunters, was asleep in his room. Suddenly, he sensed something and woke up. As he walked down the hallway, he noted how eerily silent everything was. He picked up a glass of wine and threw it to the ground. When the glass shattered but made no sound, he realized something unnatural was going on. Alarmed, he muttered, "The glass broke." "But there's no sound," he then asked. "Who's doing this?" He recalled Lady Selner's warning in the business card from Michael Connor, which had Chairman Go Gun-hee's contact information. Michael had told him to reach out if anything ever felt off. Christopher began to wonder if Michael had predicted this situation. Looking ahead, he suddenly saw a mysterious man standing in front of him, with several figures lurking behind him. He asked, "Who are you?" The man replied cryptically, saying, "You will not be able to save anything if you keep accommodating these human beings," and referred to Christopher as a fragment of brilliant light. Realizing the intruders were speaking in the language of monsters, Christopher demanded to know what they were talking about. The man pointed upwards and said, "I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the one above, the being connected to you." Infuriated, Christopher asked if they thought he was a joke. He began to activate his power, transforming as he said, "At least one of you is going to die by my hands." The enemies noticed his transformation and identified it as spiritualization, amazed that a mere human could use such an ability. Fully transformed, Christopher charged at the enemies, beginning a fierce battle. Back in Japan, Jin-Woo was in a car headed to the airport. Crowds had gathered to see him off, grateful that he had saved their country from utter destruction at the hands of the giants. Jin-Woo noted how so many people had come to get a glimpse of the hunter who had rescued them. Though not precisely counted, it was estimated that over 100,000 people were present to honor him. Later, the plane took off and the focus moved inside. Jin-Woo sat quietly and mused. What's the probability that a familiar face would end up sitting next to you on a plane? Purely by chance? To his surprise, the person seated beside him was none other than Agent Adam White. Jin-Woo asked if he was supposed to believe this was just a coincidence. Adam White replied that it would be nice if Jin-Woo thought so, but that would be difficult to believe. He added, "We've only met once, but I see you still remember me. It's an honor to see you again." Jin-Woo thought it was Baru who spoke to him from the shadows, reminding him, "His name is Adam. You can't get the name wrong this time." Jin-Woo asked, "Weren't negotiations halted?" Adam responded, "I know it's rude to come see you like this without going through proper channels, but I have something to tell you." Hearing that, Jin-Woo asked if the United States was unable to block the S-rank gate. Adam told him the situation had already been resolved. He then showed Jin-Wo a video of a house burning as firefighters attempted to put out the flames. They said, "This isn't an ordinary fire. No matter what we do, we can't suppress it." Jin-Wo asked, "What is this video?" Adam urged him to watch it until the end. He then explained that it was Christopher Reed who caused the fire. A total of 1,800 firefighters and 14 top-class hunters were mobilized to extinguish the flames he created. Jin-Wo asked, "If there was that much fire, there must have been a battle. Was Christopher defeated?" Adam nodded. "Yes, we can hardly believe it either, but he's already been killed." He then pulled out a picture saying, "This is the person the Hunter Bureau considers to be the most likely suspect." Suddenly, Adam was lifted into the air as Jin-Wo sat there, furious. He demanded, "Is this supposed to be a joke? I assure you, you won't be walking out of here on your own 2 feet." Adam stopped the agents who were preparing to attack Jin-Wo and clarified, "The person in the picture came out of a dungeon. He may not be who we think he is." Jin-Wo asked him to explain. Adam said, "His magic power is the same as that of monsters. He attacked our S-rank hunter during an interrogation. Do you remember the explosion at the Hunter Bureau a few months ago? The one that made headlines worldwide?" Jin-Wo asked if they thought this had something to do with his father and let Adam go. Gasping for air, Adam continued, "He knocked out our hunters and went into hiding after that. The Hunter Bureau tried to track him in secret, but it's as if he evaporated. No trace of him was found." He added, "I understand how you must feel, but he meets every requirement to make him a suspect." Jin-Wo asked, "Why are you showing me this picture?" Adam explained about the International Guild Conference. At the Newbern Conference, where representatives from famous guilds around the world gather, the U.S. Hunters Bureau plans to distribute his wanted posters. This means the investigation will no longer be secret. "We lost a national-level hunter because of this. The association will do everything in their power to find the culprit. We want to maintain a good relationship with you, which is why we prepared this meeting, to inform you before posting the bounty publicly." He added, "It would have been shocking for you to see your father's face on the screen at an event you were invited to." Jin-Wo was deep in thought, struggling to process the revelation. His father, missing for 10 years, had somehow returned as a monster. The thought unsettled him. One of the hunters approached Adam White and asked about his condition. Adam, still slightly shaken from Jin-Woo's display of power, assured the hunter that he was fine. As he observed Jin-Wo, Adam couldn't help but be impressed. Telekinesis was a skill many high-tier magic hunters could use, but their abilities were typically limited to simply moving objects. What Jin-Wo had demonstrated was on a completely different level, something only national-level hunters were usually capable of. It became clear to Adam that Jin-Wo was, without a doubt, the 6th national-level hunter, a fact he knew he had to report to the vice director immediately. The episode ends here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.